All right. That was Medea Sud by Rosella Cosentino. Now, I hope I'm saying that right because me and Rosella Cosentino are friends on social media, and she has been waiting on us to interview her for a while. And when she sent me this song, and I also have the marketing information for it, I've never asked her the proper what's pronunciation. So I hope I'm saying it right. Medeo Sud. What you think?
Yeah, it looks like Medea said
Yeah, it looks that way, but
Rosella Cosentino. And she's from Italy.
oh
You
yeah,
said she's from
she
Italy?
born and raised in South Italy, right there in the Mediterranean, off the Mediterranean Sea. Um, and she's still in Italy now, so she is definitely a Mediterranean woman. And I don't know their dialect or how they pronounce their words. So I'm because when she speaks on social media, she speaks in her native tongue a lot, and it's not English. So, um, but I think I'm gonna ask. I'm gonna send her a message tomorrow on Saturday morning and ask her how you pronounce your song.
Right, just for future references.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So I think I'm gonna do that. But anyway, this is my favorite part of the day. It's Friday morning. We're at the part of the show where it's Zona Elise's question of the day.
Okay, guys.
Yes.
So
Let me put my feet up.
put your feet up. Okay.
Yeah.
So this actually started off as a meme. Just something I was looking at on social media.
Mm-hmm.
And this guy I'm not gonna put his name on it or anything, but he said that pretty much that his wife grew up thinking that having the ice in the water, on the door of the refrigerator,
Okay.
was like a life goal. Like it was a life goal. Like, oh my God, if you got that's life for her. And he said when he was young and when he was growing up, he thought that if you had a basketball hoop with a clear or a plexiglass backboard, then you were rich. So interesting. I don't know if you ever thought about it or anything, but what are some things that you thought were indications or indicators of wealth when you were a kid? Like, what's your skill?
You're asking the question this morning, but we did talk about a form of the question the other day. So, in our pre-production meeting. So, I was thinking. I'm thinking now. As a kid, what did I ever think about indications of wealth? And because one thing about my mother and my father, all I cared about as kids, as a child, was toys. And it wasn't a single toy that I didn't have. I mean, I remember when they put out the Michael Jackson dolls, the live action figure. I think they were like 18 inches tall. It was 3 of them.
What?
My mother bought me all 3. I had the Mr. T 20-inch doll. I had it. The Voltron 40-inch remote control figure. I had that.
So you were the rich kid, and everybody else is just looking at you and your toys.
You know what? I wasn't a rich kid, but I was the kid that had all the toys.
Okay.
And when my house burnt, the one thing about that's how I lost a lot of my stuff. Our house burned because at this time my mother, my father had was gone through a divorce, and me and my mom moved in with her father because her mother had died in 81. So this is like 84, 85. And our house burnt because this was right after my grandfather died. Cause we moved in, my grandfather was living, and he got sick, and eventually he passed away in the home. So no more than probably a month or maybe 2 months of my grandfather passing away. It was myself, my mother, and my great grandmother, who was my grandmother's mother, who lived upstairs. And then my grandfather's mother lived behind the house because she had a house in back. So
Okay.
when he passed away, she ended up leaving. So it was just three people on the property. It was my great grandmother upstairs, me and my mother.
Okay.
One night I was at my father's home in Cordova, and like I said, it's 85. And my mother was at choir rehearsal. She ended up calling the house and saying that our house caught on fire, electrical fire. Now that house has been there since my mother and her sisters were children.
Mm.
So when my grandfather died, mysteriously the house catch on fire. So
Mm.
the house burned, and all of my toys, I kept them in a room on the front porch. Every child in the school, when I went to Florida Elementary School in South Memphis, knew that I kept my toys there because they would come over and play. When that house burned, when me and my mom went there the next day, all my toys was gone.
Hmm. That's messed up.
So that means news traveled fast in the neighborhood over there in South Memphis that my house burned, and the kids figured out how to get in the house and get my toys.
That's crazy.
But you know what?
So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's crazy.
Yeah. But I always said that house burned down because there was no more life in it. Grandmama gone, grandfather gone. That was their home that they built for their family. They both died. The house had no reason to stand anymore. So it burned down.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Ain't that something?
Yep. But to answer your question, I think that for me, when it comes to wealth as a kid, it was about, you know what? I'm going to have to think on it. I'm going to think
You
on it.
still got to think on it.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think I got something. What we'll do is I will address it later in the show today, and because I do want to answer this question, and I want the
Okay.
world to answer it too.
Okay.
And 'cause they're gonna hit us on our social medias and give us their answer. But what we're gonna do, because we got to take this break, we're gonna play these commercials, and I'm definitely gonna answer that question because I want to hear yours as well. So
Okay.
we're gonna play these commercials and come right back right here on RLX Radio now. Okay, world, we're back. It's Grown and Sexy Friday morning right here on RLX Radio now. And I've been thinking about this all morning as we're doing this show. And I want to give my answer to your question. So before I give my answer, and for the people that are listening who probably missed it, can you give me your question one more time, Miss Elise?
Okay. So, what are some things you thought were indicators of wealth when you were a kid? Like
Oh,
what things or people or places, just whatever. What did you think, or what made you think this is wealth or this is richness?
okay. Now I don't know if my answer will be um what most people might say, because some people might say, a glass backboard, or they give that specific item.
Hmm.
And I never really thought about that as a kid, but there was one thing when it comes to wealth every year for a good 4 or 5 year span, my mother would get these publisher clearinghouse packets in the mail,
Mhm.
and then you got to fill them out and send them back. We knew that our poor ass wasn't gonna win. Cause the commercial, just like they had the people come to the door, hit the door button, all this pomp and circumstance, and they give this big ass check.
Mhm. Mhm.
We filled it out, and we put it back in the mail. And for weeks, we would go to bed at night talking about if we won and what we would do with the money. And,
Okay.
and that got us through a lot of nights where some nights we didn't even have electricity, me and my mom, in the apartment that we or home we stayed in. And it could be a wintertime or it could be the summer. And those nights of thinking about winning the Publishers Clearinghouse was something that made me think about wealth and wanting to be rich. Buying different things and shopping and seeing the world. Because I used to always watch Lifestyle of the Rich and Famous and on TV on Sunday nights, and yes, it was the Publisher Clearinghouse packet that my mother and I would fill out every year for 5 years and thinking about winning it. That was
Okay. Okay.
that's what I thought about wealth as a kid.
Okay.
Now, what about you?
Okay. Um, I'm one of those ones that really didn't think about it either.
Okay.
But I always I'll say I always felt like if kids like when we were in grammar school, getting ready to go to high school,
Mm-hmm.
like the kids that were driving already and were already in their cars, I'm like, oh, they own, they good, they parents good, and I would always just in my head think of a big house already or a big car. It's like everything that came with it. It didn't necessarily have to be like a new one.
Mm-hmm.
Just the fact that your parents made sure you was riding. I'm like, oh yeah, they own. They got a big house. They dad and them this. I have my own little storyline. And it didn't necessarily, even when I was younger and I looked at the kids older than me, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm talking about I gave them folks everything.
Right.
And it may not be the situation at home, but I was just like, okay, for it to be like that, they own, they good.
Right.
So that was, I guess, an indicator for me, like, yeah, they got it going on.
Okay.
So it was nothing major. It was never a person, how they dressed. Some people are like, oh my God, they got on this, they rich. Like, I never cared too much about that. As long as my stuff was clean and cute, I didn't really pay attention to that. Like, some people are designer crazy. Me, not necessarily. I don't want this shirt just because it has Gucci on it. That's, I've never been that type, and it's been great for me. While everybody else trying to be seen, I'm just sitting back like, oh, okay. And it's never meant to me that you're wealthy because you're wearing your wealth. Like,
Yeah.
no money left in the bank or anything. And I've always been like that, even when I was younger.
You and I have the exact same mindset because so-called designer clothes, even today, means absolutely nothing to me. I wrote a poem years ago called "Worshipping Idols," and it was directed towards how we as people covet designer clothes, and the designer clothes are the idols. And people worship those idols. They care so much about a name on some material things as if that is supposed to complete you or put you at a status or a level above someone else. Or in their case, they may say, well, I'm showing, some people might even say, well, God bless me to have these nice things. Any way you want to fix it in your head where a material item make you feel a certain way, and if the dollar figure is not high enough, you don't think it's good quality. I've never been that person because I don't need material items to make me feel good or stand out.
Exactly. If you standing out, it's regardless.
Right. I'm gonna stand out, motherfucker, regardless, any goddamn way. You know, and because I have enough confidence in myself just to exist. I don't need, to do all the things that people have to do for themselves to be seen or feel good. I ain't got to do a goddamn thing but exist, and I'm straight.
Exactly. Exactly.
And I think we need to start normalizing being your motherfucking self. Quit going into debt over, material items and things.
Yep.
Because, it's like some cars. People buy them because of the emblems on the car. But if they actually paid attention, almost all these cars, to some degree, have the same body. They just have different emblems on them.
Yep.
So what they tell you,
Yep.
The only difference is the emblem.
Yep. You're right.
But anyway, like I said, I like that question. And I'm glad we got a chance to give our 2 cents on it. And we want the world to give theirs as well.
Okay.
Yeah, so they're going to have to hit us on our social media. So what we're going to do is we're going to play a couple songs, and we come back, we're going to let the world know how to hit us up on social media. And, because we need them to tell us what they think.
Okay.
All right, yeah, because I want to hear. But anyway, we're going to play some music, and then we're going to come back. We're going to give out our social medias. And this is RLX Radio Now, right here on the RLX Radio Network.
Okay, guys, back on the subject of getting more healthy, feeling more well about yourself, getting more in tune with getting fit. I want you guys to go ahead and visit theexquisitestore.blogspot.com. Okay, it's an online superstore based in Memphis, Tennessee. They have the most exquisite gifts, products, service packages in the highest quality emporium. Okay, plus if you are in the Memphis, Tennessee area, you get free delivery over $10, which is awesome. Who doesn't like to save money? They're open from Monday through Sunday, 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. You can reach them at 901-730-2106. And I was really excited when I got to do the Invigoration's NewU Kit 2. Oh my god, guys, this drink is amazing, okay? It is a health, fitness, wellness drink, okay? It comes with so many different things. It has like an antioxidant natural elixir, an immune system enhancer, natural dietary elixir, exquisite heart health, metabolism elixir, surge through elixir to really boost your energy. So you guys really need to go and get ahead, tap those little buttons online, and go ahead and plug in theexquisitestore.blogspot.com. Again, theexquisitestore.blogspot.com.